Welcome back, everyone, to our first SLT meeting of the year. It's nice to see familiar faces and some new faces here. I believe most of the members on the team is on. We're missing just, I know Miss Lochisano couldn't be here today. Kathy Tan couldn't be here today. And Lily is done, with us. Her son graduated out last June, so we do have an opening for the parents.
More to come on that later.
Yeah, but the second item is some remote learning first impressions. How did the parents feel about it? I'm not sure if students are allowed to speak, but I do see students here. If they have any thoughts and feedback about the whole remote learning experience. They've, had almost a full week this week.
Yeah, and I believe the chat is open, so please feel free to put any questions that you might have in the chat, and we can moderate that and get those questions going. But yeah, so some first impressions would be great from parents or students.
Maybe we can talk about just what our priority was for the first few days, so that maybe we can kind of get some feedback on whether or not we were successful.
Sure.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Mina Siddiqui. Right now, I'm usually assistant principal for ABL, but right now for the 6th grade. Pretty much with the numerous changes that were going on in the midst of us attempting to have an orientation with the kids, we kind of, as a staff, got together and talked about what our priority was for this week. And we're still getting there. And our priority pretty much was communication with the students. For them to be able to, A, know their schedule, B, understand their schedule, C, log on for homeroom, as well as log in for all of their content areas. So our main focus this week was to ensure that as many students as possible, and our attendance has been getting better each day, have logged into the appropriate place. So they understand who their homeroom teacher is, what their schedule is, what their learning group may be, and understanding the codes. We're finding that many students coming from elementary school have a difficult time getting into Google Classroom and understanding their email addresses and things like that. So pretty much our priority has been, again, getting the students on to where we can communicate with them as best we can. Mr. Berman, would you want to add anything after that? Am I missing
No, anything? I think you're right on target. I'm just sort of looking in the chat a little bit, but yeah, I think that we had some really lofty goals, and I think getting started in this environment required, I think, a tremendous amount of planning, a tremendous amount of thought, and a tremendous amount of cooperation. Really, a cooperation among teachers, parents, and of course you too, students, because really everything we do is really for you. We want you to have the best experience that you possibly can have. We know there are limitations to what we're doing. We know that right now it's almost impossible to have a perfect or a great situation for everyone. We realize that. But we're really trying to do the very, very best we can, given some really difficult conditions. And I think, one of the questions that we referred to earlier really sort of gets to a really important issue, and a really important and a great question about why we're doing what we're doing, and how what we're doing is working, and why we chose this route for our students and our family and our school. And I think, again, the idea with getting sort of some feedback from our families, early on so that we can monitor what we're doing and revise and change is very much at the core of what we do, and has always been important to the culture and the climate of our school. I like to think that we're really good listeners, and that we've created a kind of an organization that that can be adaptable. Our two programmers, I know one of them who's here this afternoon, Mrs. Muselli, are just really amazing mathematicians and thinkers and problem solvers, and I'm happy to share with you. I know there are lots of folks who wonder, you know, well, how does Kristen McAuliffe do what they do, or how are they doing what they're doing? And of course, you know, people always say, well, you know, of course, it's got to be because we're a screen school, right? And we have, you know, screened kids, right? And that's why we're able to do what we do. And I say, well, that's great, but we've been planning, you know, kids have been with us for a couple of weeks, but we've been planning, the adults here have been planning for since March to get to where we are today. So there's a lot of things that come together and work, and I thank all of the parents for their cooperation, and I look forward to some more feedback. Sort of moving forward, again, if there are things that folks want to share, just to tie up one loose end, I was responding to something. Our after school programs, I know that's something that folks are concerned about and want to know about. I know an update is coming later in this meeting for that. So just, I want to take this opportunity also to talk about just a couple of things on our end, and that we're seeing, and that we really want to engage you with. The first thing I think you'll really enjoy, you might have seen it already, but if you haven't, some of our teachers volunteered to put together a little video for our students, and we showed it to them during our orientation. If you saw it already, please just entertain us a little bit, and if you haven't seen it yet, I think you will really enjoy it. Ms. Wong, if you can allow me to share my screen. Yep. It's just a few minutes, but it'll give you just a little bit of a flavor of some of the things that we're expecting, you know, for students. And I know some of these things are changing in regards to particular health things. I can talk a little bit about that too, but let's check out the video first.
Do you see the option to share screen?
I do, and I think awesome. We are just about ready for showtime. Can you see the video?
Yes.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
Hey. Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Hey, everyone. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
We are so excited to welcome you back to school.
This year is going to be fun and exciting.
But it's going to be different.
Whether you're new or returning,
there are some procedures that we need everyone to be aware of.
So school can be a safe environment for all of us.
For all of us. For all of us.
For all of us.
For all of us.
For all of us.
When waiting in the line, stand 6 feet apart. Look at this line. They're standing too close. Make sure your mask is on, your lanyard is visible, and your forehead is not covered. Look, they're standing too close again. If you count 6 tiles, you're 6 feet apart. Eighth graders must exit through stairwell C. 7th graders must exit through stairwell B. 6th graders can exit through stairwell F. They can also exit through stairwell G. 6th grade yellow bus students should use stairwell E. 6th grade yellow bus students take stairwell E to the auditorium. Let's all do our part to keep each other safe and have a great year. Welcome back to school.
All right. I always enjoy watching that. I've seen it quite a few times, but it was really great. I love that our teachers do that. So that's just some of the things. Now, I will tell you that was made about a week or so ago. Things have changed since then a little bit in terms of arrival. You're going to be getting some more information on this. I know you received a letter from the chancellor that Mrs. Palumbo sent home for us about some of the things that families need to do at home before sending their children to school. I do know that you may be thinking, well, my child is remote, so why do I need to know this? We do hope that at some point, really, in the very near future, we're going to have more and more students coming back to school. So all of these things are important things for everyone to know. But as far as moving forward, and assuming school opens October 1st, all students who report to school will have to do the same screening that all staff members have to do now at home. So parents, students, you have to take your temperature at home before you leave. And there's also a questionnaire that you'll have to fill out. Now you'll have to answer the 4 questions and either have that email response on your phone for that day or print it out and bring it to show. So you'll have to do that every day. If you don't have it, then you have to answer those questions there at the site, and it'll slow down arrival. So, but there's written documentation about that. We'll still take everyone's temperature before they come into the building, but those are some of the differences that are coming up with the health information and some of those changes. There are a couple of other things that I wanted to bring up as well. School buses, parents, if you require a school bus and the school bus tells you that it's going to be starting next week, be very, very aware of the fact that the school buses have had very little time to plan and get things together. And I would expect major problems with school buses next week. So you might want to plan alternative arrangements to get to school for at least the first week of school until you're sure that the school buses are operating at all and are picking you up at the routes that and the stops that they're supposed to pick you up and when they're supposed to be there, but that also you're satisfied with the arrangements on the bus for your child. So those are things that you should be concerned about that we want to alert you to as well. And then finally, for internet devices, we want to make sure, and we need to make sure that everyone has the devices that they need. If you don't have a device, please let us know. We cannot provide devices that have internet though. So if you do need internet, that's a device that you'll have to get through the DOE, but perhaps we can put the link in the chat again, and we'll send it out for you again. But if you do need technology, a device, you can fill out the link and we'll make sure that we get it for you. The students can't operate if they don't have the right technology. Connected and related to that is the idea of camera use and being in class and being in homeroom when they're supposed to be in homeroom, and having student cameras on when they need to be on. It's very important, parents, that we have you helping to reinforce the idea that this is school like regular school, and the responsibilities in terms of times and schedules and being where you need to be when you need to be there are things that we need. We need students to have these values, and we need you to help us support those values. You know, one of the things that I've said on occasion is that about 90% of things that go right in life are being where you need to be when you need to be there. And part of that is being in homeroom and being in class and being on time. And so those are really, really important important things. I'm not sure. I'm looking in the chat now. Let's sort of and then in terms of the camera, before I get to the chat, because I was sort of on that, in terms of the cameras as well, having the cameras on is part of interacting with the class. It's part of interacting with students. It's part of interacting with students. It's not having the camera on is almost like sitting inside of a box inside of a classroom, and that's not something that that's okay. So please, parents, work with us on that in the areas and when we need to. Let's see. So thank you very much for that feedback. I do appreciate that. Yeah, we really want the students to be engaged, you know, and again, initially, as Mrs. Siddiqui said, our priorities are really to welcome back students into this really different routine while really addressing their needs as adolescents, as humans, as people who need to connect, and how to do that. And all of the other things, the reading and the writing and all of those things, they'll fall into play. You know, and I think it all goes back to the same kind of a thing when, you know, we talk about, you know, test prep. You know, we're not a test prep school. We don't do an awful lot of test prep at all. But yet the students still achieve some of the highest scores really around anywhere. So it's really not about test prep. It's very, very much about process. Okay, so yellow school busing. What I said about yellow school busing was, don't plan for reliable school bus service for the first week or two of school. I'm not sure who's going to be on the bus. Hopefully the bus driver's not the one monitoring the social distancing. We want that driver paying attention to the road, Some bus drivers have, some special ed buses have matrons. I don't really know what's going to happen with that.
Mr. Berman, can I just jump in for a second?
Yes, of course,
What
please.
you may be finding is, like we said, we're trying to make sure that we have gotten in touch with every family or every student who has not logged into homeroom appropriately and or missed a class during the day to figure out what was the misunderstanding. Was it a schedule misunderstanding? Was it a login misunderstanding? Was it a tech issue? So right now we're still just trying to troubleshoot any families who are having tech problems, which is why the students aren't logging in appropriately, or was it misinformation or information that wasn't understood properly that we can revisit. So if you're receiving phone calls, it's because we have questions and we're trying to find out if your child understands where they need to be and when they need to be there, and or is there a technology problem. So over the last few days, I could say we have been, specifically sixth grade in general, because they're the newest to the school, calling on a daily basis to figure out what any concern is so that we can better address any misinformation that's going on.
Thank you, Mrs. Siddiqui.
Hello. May I ask?
Bella?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you, sir. Thank you for everything, first off. Thank you for everything. And everybody else who worked so hard over the summer. In my other, my other hats, I get to hear what's going on in other places. And our experience so far has been so much better than so many other places. And that's due to the hard work from everybody at our school. So thank you again. That being said, I'm always concerned about our Ls. I know we don't have many of those, but our kids with IEPs and about our special needs kids. Are they responding? Are they attending class, or do we have a gap between their attendance rate and our general ed kids' attendance rate?
There is a gap, and it has been a challenge for some of our ICT students and some of our self-contained students. And we've been working very closely and individually with those families to ascertain if it's a technology issue or maybe some other issue, and how we can intervene and how we can get those children really to class as they should, and they certainly will. If it's technology we need to get them, if it's training, if it's whatever kind of assistance, we'll get it for them. So, but yes, there is currently a difference, right? But again,
that's not just our problem. That's the biggest problem citywide, right? That's the whole DOE problem. And if we figure out a way to reach people, maybe we can share that, and if we can help solve it for us as well as for the district and for the wider audience, the city. I mean, if there isn't an answer, right? Because let's be honest, maybe there's not an answer.
Individual attention is the best way at this point for us to connect with families and find out really what's going on. And fortunately, we have the staff and we have the ability to connect with families, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Great, thank you.
So
Justin, could I just jump in for a sec?
Yes. Hello, Mr. File. How are you?
Yeah, sorry, I was a little late to the meeting today, so I might have missed something at the beginning, but I noticed that we have 47 people, so that's a lot bigger than our normal SLT meeting. If somebody, I'd really love to hear some feedback about what people are thinking about the start of the year. Is what we're doing working? I don't know who's on here. I assume there's some kids, some parents. We would love to get feedback. Now's a great time for that. If you guys had some opinions, suggestions, compliments. I like Miss Mora. Then we're lucky to have us. Thank you. If you want to say that, that's okay.
Stop fishing, Mr. File.
So yeah,
there are definitely some sixth graders here. So
Great.
I would love to hear some sixth grade feedback because it's their first year with our school, and it's a bit of a weird start to be all remote. But maybe you guys would want to say something.
That'd be great. Don't be shy.
Alec, Anson, Edward, I see you guys. Who else? Kevin. Anything to add?
Yeah, feel free.
Well, you guys think about it, and you can certainly respond in the chat if you want, if you don't want to talk, or if you're just sort of listening to get a little bit of a lay of the land, that's okay too. But really, I want to encourage you to really understand, boys and girls, that we really value your opinion. And those aren't just words. I can tell you there are a lot of things that have happened in our school that have been really significant things that happened because students have wanted it that way. I'll give you a really good example, boys and girls. Our cell phone policy. That was developed by students, and students wanted particular things. And we worked together and collaborated, and the students were the ones who helped us do that. Now, if they didn't speak up, then they wouldn't have had the kind of policy that I think works best for students. And that's really what we want. We don't always want what's best for adults, boys and girls. We want what's best for students, because we're all here working to have the best for you. So that's real important, boys and girls. The other thing I want to tell you about is that when you get to be in the 8th grade, you also have the opportunity to have an official seat on our school leadership team and join all of our meetings as an official member. And that's something that we've been doing for many years and is very, very important to us. So your voices count, boys and girls. Let's see, what else? Thank you very much, Mr. Cozine. I'm glad. Engagement is really important. Oh, great. I'm glad Max has been having a great experience so far. That's terrific. Thank you. I want to go through just a couple more of our agenda items, and then we can get to, I know there was one question that was submitted in advance. We're certainly going to get to that. And then, in fact, I want to do that now. Why don't we do that? Mr. LaBella, there was a question that came up about sort of how some other schools are approaching remote learning, and I guess, well, why don't I just let you ask the question?
Oh, well, that was a more general question. When I was fishing for, I was trying to pick your brain for my other role as a CEC member. But the question is, like, what we're doing, I think, is wonderful, right? I mean, so I'm so happy with the remote experience for my daughter. We have 5 periods. We have, all of the main classes. And it really seems like other people have said in the chat that this is, it's a real school day, right? I mean, we could do this, we could flip we could do this 2 years from now. Instead of having a snow day, we all go remote, right? I mean, we could really, we could really use this pandemic and really take some great takeaways. But what I'm feeling is that we're doing things the way they should be done, and not every school is doing that. So
But I will tell you, I will say, Mr. LaBella,
yes,
I'm not going to take a snow day away from the children. No way.
I look forward to those days.
You see, that's what happens, that's unintended consequences, right?
No days are for fun only, fun in the snow. That's it. But
Okay.
Anyway,
we did have other specific questions that someone asked me to convey, and the most important, I believe, is are we aware that the COVID infection rate for our neighborhood, Bensonhurst, Dyker Heights, Sunset Park, portion of Borough Park, is 4.7%, almost 5%. And that's very worrisome to some parents. And there are also some schools that have put in an application to go all remote. Mm-hmm. And so the question is, can we, based upon this infection rate, request an exception to go all remote if you think that is the appropriate thing to do?
Well, there is no school that doesn't have students in a blended manner. So in other words, it is not There is no way for a school to say, okay, nobody is coming to our school building, everybody stay home, and everybody be remote. Now, what some schools are doing is they have everybody on a remote schedule, but the blended students are still coming to school. So those blended students are coming to school, and they're sitting in a classroom, and they're doing the remote learning that your children are doing now at home in the classroom. And they're being supervised perhaps by a para or a school aide or someone. And the teachers are teaching those students remotely.
But Justin, I think what Vito's getting at is this. 3.0 is like the magic number citywide. So citywide.
Hold on a second, Mr. File, that's a separate thing. Let me finish this part.
Okay.
That's a separate thing. So the idea is, why can't we be all remote, right? Why is that? So now again, these schools, the way that they are all remote, the children are not home. The ones who have selected remote only, they're home. The ones who have selected blended instruction, they're going to school, yet are being forced to remote instruction by having to sit in the class in front of a computer. I am not going to do that to families. That is not okay with me. If a family wants to send their kid to school, they're sending their kid to school not to sit in front of a computer. They're sending their kid for the magic of what happens in a classroom with people, with the instruction that goes on, with the human interaction. That's why people want blended instruction. I'm not going to force them into remote instruction by just saying, okay, well, you know what, this is what we're doing. So, you know, you'll come to school, but yet you'll sit in front of a computer and you'll do your remote instruction that way. I think if families want remote instruction, then choose it. Go on to the survey, choose remote instruction, and it starts tomorrow. And I think if that's the case, then I see how schools are doing that. I don't think it's a great way to provide the instruction. I think what we're doing is better.
So what you're saying,
we were there. We thought of that idea, but I think what we're doing is better.
So what you're saying is that parents who are worried about that 4.75% infection rate should just, if they can, choose remote.
Well, what else can you do?
Right. No.
What else can you do? I mean, you know, so Mr. File, we could certainly get back to the other point is, well, why is our school open if our neighborhoods? I think that's really where we're going. Why is our school open if our neighborhood has such a high infection rate? I can't tell you that. That's a DOE question.
But is it a legitimate question, right? I think it is.
It's a very legitimate question. Because basically, the way I understand it, if the percentage went over 3% for the city, they would shut down all the schools. So what you're saying is the percentage in our neighborhood is 4.7%.
Listen, frankly, I'll be very frank with you folks. I think right now, with what's going on in the world, I think it's an important question to understand the legitimacy of any school being open for students and staff at this point. But this is where we are. And as a parent, you have the right to say, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to send my child if that's what you want. But at the same time, given the parameters that the city has set up for us, you also have the right to send your child to school. And I'm not going to take that right away from anyone.
And again, we circle back all the time to these kids with special needs that need to be in school more than perhaps other children.
Listen, I think every child needs to be in school, but yes, and I don't see anything happening piecemeal, because I don't see special education teachers saying, okay, well, you go in and other teachers don't, right? If it's not safe for some teachers, it's not safe If it's not safe for some, it's not safe for all. How do we decide who it's safe for and who it's not safe for? Not God. So, on that note, any other questions?
I was just the messenger on that one.
No, but I think it's a great question to know why can't our kids, because I think parents are seeing the benefit in the schedule of being all remote.
Yeah.
So why can't we just do that anyway? Right? Well, because we can't do that while there are still students who need in-person instruction. That's the limiting factor. And the other limiting factor in how schedules sort of fall out and why children have schedules that they have is also very much about teachers and which teachers are available to teach in-person instruction and which teachers are home with accommodations because they can't come to work, right? Those are teachers who can't do in-person instruction. So you know, we're trying as best we can to provide the most diverse experience to our kids and looking at ways that we can improve our schedule in any ways that we can. I think at this point, though, we need to sort of play things by ear and see how things pan out. We don't need any extra teachers or staff. We're fine. Other schools do. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I promise I'll keep you posted. I will tell you that our school is clean. Our school has all of the personal protective equipment that we're supposed to have. Our safety procedures are in place. And I think our school is as safe as it can be. That's the best I can give you. I think it's as safe as it can be. Is any place safe? Again, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not an immunologist. I don't know. But I know our school is clean top to bottom every day. I know we have the machine and it's being used and the high touch areas are being cleaned. The bathrooms are clean. We social distance. We have our procedures in place. And our school is as safe as it can be. I am very comfortable in saying that. So.
We have some questions in the chat, Mr. Berman.
Yeah, let's go to it. Forced to close the school and would be able to get some of our academy classes back? Yes, that's a great question. So if we do close for example, the idea is it possible to go back to a more normal schedule with academies like we would normally have at Christa McAuliffe? The answer is absolutely yes. We plan on that. We would like that to happen. Academies are important to us. It's important to our culture. Having children in getting the classes that they expected when they signed up for Christa McAuliffe is important to us. So yes, we do plan to do that. Yeah. Absolutely. And we're ready to do that. We don't have to create a new program. We already created that program. That program was created first in the summer because we knew at some point we're going to come back to school. So at some point we're going to need that. So no matter what happened in the future, we knew we were going to need a regular Christa McAuliffe program. We already have that. We already have that. And you know, it's funny, I was talking with Mr. LaBella the other day, and you know, he was asking, you know, how did this happen? How come other schools can't do this? How come they haven't figured it out? And you know, I think part of it is, you know, is really having a team. Not part of it. It's all about the team, and it's all about putting people together and getting them to work. and at the same time recognizing the value of people's time and understanding that things like this don't just happen because people want to do this, right? And you have to invest in a school. You have to invest in planning. And we invested in a lot of our talent, and we invested in a lot of money in our talent to get to where we are. It's not magic, you know. We have really smart people. So what else do we have? What other questions? Oh, and so, yeah, and you can ask any school, how much per session did they spend this summer on planning? The city gave us $8,000 to plan, $8,000. We have an $8 million budget, more, almost $9 million, okay? Figure out the percentage of planning to a budget. What do you think you get for that? Right? Not too much. Not too much at all. So obviously we supplemented that greatly to get to where we are, because it required that much effort and thought and teamwork. And it was so worth it, because here we are. Here we are. You know? And frankly, I'm grateful for the people that we had who wanted to do it over the summer. Because frankly, even though it adds up to a lot of money, it's not a lot of money that they get for giving up their time in the summer. It's really not. But they did it anyway because they care about our school. So that's all great stuff. So what else? Other questions, concerns, anything? Can we go to our, I think, did we cover the SLT? Oh, the budget update. I'll give you a quick budget update. Our budget is really solid so far this year. Again, like I said, we spent a lot of money on planning. Well, I can tell you, we spent about $70,000 on planning over the summer and per session and so forth. And I think it was money absolutely well spent. Our budget remains very, very viable for this year, and I'm looking to purchase and spend the money fairly quickly, because I don't want to happen this year again what happened last year when they shut, when we couldn't get things, we couldn't get deliveries. They took our money and they said, no, you can't buy anything. We have it now and I want to spend it while we have it. So we're working on that, and we're working on getting whatever we can to improve the quality of the instruction that we give. So folks, if you have ideas of things that you think might be helpful, I'd love to hear what they are. Please share them, whether they're with us directly, with our PTA, our SLT members, things like that. Please let us know, because I don't want to give any money back to the city. And I think next year, I don't think our budgets are going to be as friendly as they are this year. Not by a long shot. We have
Mr. Berman, along that note, I believe,
yes, sir.
and this may be a rumor or not, but the CEC has one paid position, and that's the administrative assistant. And I heard a rumor that they're being furloughed for 10 days. I don't know if that's just the start of something worse for us or not.
I read that, and the chancellor sent out that managerial positions and non-union city workers will be furloughed for 5 days between now and sometime in the spring.
Okay.
I don't know if that applies to Department of Education workers and teachers. There are teachers who are not union members by virtue of not paying union dues.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, if you're a if you don't pay your union dues, then you are not a union member, and you would therefore, I guess, fall under that category. Although I don't know how that would, it doesn't totally help the city, because if a teacher is furloughed because they're not a union member, you still have to pay someone to cover the class while the teacher's not there, right? So I don't know, and I don't honestly. I don't know if supervisors like principals and assistant principals are considered managers. I don't think so. But we are represented by a union. So I don't really know.
Mulgrew sent out a clarifying email saying it does not pertain to UFT members, teachers for the furlough. The email that Carranza sent out.
Yeah, but if you don't pay your dues, you're not a UFT member.
Yes, you're covered even if you don't pay your dues.
Which is why there was.
Okay.
I believe everyone is covered if you're in the UFT.
But you're not in the UFT if you don't pay your dues. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's
Well,
that's all I know. That's all I know.
riders.
That's all I know about. That's all I know about the furloughs. Yeah.
Vito, you know, it's sort of funny that there was a rumor going around that 9,000 teachers were going to be laid off, which seems kind of crazy considering they can't get enough teachers. So I don't know. To me, you know, you hear a lot of things. I don't imagine that there's going to be mass layoffs of teachers anytime soon because you got to fill the classes. It's not like other jobs where they could lay people off and then there'll be less of a job. If there's no one to teach the kids, you can't do layoffs. So I think we're going to be okay.
I'll tell you what my concern is. My concern is that because the city hasn't figured out how to run the schools without adding thousands and tens of thousands of people when you hire a teacher, right? You're not hiring a teacher for a year. You're hiring a union person, right? So once school's open, where are all these people going to go, and who's going to pay for all of these people? How is the city going to afford to pay 10,000 new teachers salaries and pensions and health care when they're talking about laying off people? It doesn't make any sense at all. I don't understand it, not one bit.
It would be first in and first out, right? So assuming we go back to normal, all of the teachers were hired as a result of the pandemic, they would be the first to be let go, right? I mean,
you mean laid off?
Laid off.
Well, right. Yeah. It'd be massive layoffs.
But there's not really, I mean, there are people that wouldn't have had a job anyway.
I don't know. I think there are serious financial repercussions for hiring 10,000 new teachers.
Oh, yes, I'm sure.
Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, the schedules. Yes, parents, please, if you're not sure of when your children are supposed to be in school, please refer to the staff manual. We're going to be sending home reminders about which days the children should be reporting to school, but the staff
link in the chat, Mr. Berman, so people.
Oh, thank you. Yep. So yeah, check that out. Great. Well, I guess we're coming to a close. I'm happy to answer any other questions. You can reach us via email. I'll put mine in.
I do have just one quick PTO update.
Oh, and we also need to do the NIA update. I did say I was going to do that. Go ahead, Vito.
So look, I'm not going to have a PTO meeting here. The only update I want to just say that we provided the contactless thermometers and the lanyards. We spent about $1,000 for that. We spent $1,500 for welcoming our teachers back because we appreciate them so much. We have to look into how we can fundraise under the present circumstance. But prior to any of that, we have to get a budget. We have to do all these fun stuff. but thank you, Winnie, Winnie has solved half of my problem, which is she'll be able to do polling and she'll be able to coordinate and officiate at the election that's going to be next month's, the October PTO meeting. Along with that, I'm going to need help from Carla and maybe assistant with Carla, because we have to figure out, based upon the chancellor's recommendations that he sent out today, how to credential parents so that we know who is eligible to vote and who isn't. And they want us to send each parent a unique code. So we have 6 weeks to get this done, or a little less, 5 weeks to get this done, so that they could sign in using that code so we know that they're eligible to vote for the SLT election and the PTO election. So that's something that I might need all of the administration's help with to try to get that done and get that organized.
We can work that out, I believe. Yep. Great. Thank you. Parents who are interested, you'll be sending out information about how to run and the process?
We're going to explain that on our PTO meeting is next Tuesday, the 29th at 6 p.m. I'm sorry, at 7 p.m. And we'll be going over the entire, election process at that meeting, and then it'll actually be carried out at the October meeting.
Great, thank you. Do we have is Mr. Hederman here to give an NIA update? Mr. File, are you going to do that?
Mr. Hederman couldn't make it.
Okay.
So yeah, I actually was meeting with John and Jonathan, who was the supervisor. So we're working on it. We're working on getting people signed up in a remote way. We're going to have SAT classes and some other classes. We're hoping to do some fun stuff. We're not planning on bringing kids into the building. Even when kids are in the building, there's only going to be about 80, 85 kids on any given day. And we're not going to have after-school live programs until Mr. Berman and all of us are more comfortable with that situation. So it's going to start out remote. We're hoping we get a lot of people signed up. And like Mr. Berman was saying earlier in the meeting, at some point, hopefully this year, we'll start to bring kids back to the school and will be more of a normal school year. I don't know if that's going to be the case. And if not, I mean, if we could, we're really, really open to suggestions on remote NIA, how to make it more interesting, what to do. There's always that conflict between kids being in front of a computer screen all day and then us having them to continue in front of a computer screen. So we're very well aware of that because, the concept behind NIA is the kids work hard and then they would sort of play hard at NIA. We do interesting things and fun things and try new things. So, it's a work in progress. We're trying to figure it out. I know John has been working really, really hard and answering tons of questions from parents and getting parents signed up. Please encourage them to fill out the paperwork we need so we can get it rolling. So NIA is alive and well. We're funded. We're excited.
Yep.
And we're open to suggestions.
I do know it did start already. So like if there's, I know John sent out schedules to parents if students want to sign up for certain things, but it definitely did start this week. Some things even started last week.
Yep. So we're trying to, hit the ground running.
Great, thank you.
Anytime.
All right, I think our timing is pretty good. To explain the role of the SLT for new families and how many seats are open. Yes, sure, definitely. I can go over that. It'll just take a couple minutes. Our SLT has an important role in our school to really help guide many aspects of our organization, whether it's things that are related to instruction or budget or safety or whatever it is. Typically, folks who go for quote unquote training for school leadership teams learn that the role of the school leadership team is twofold. One, to help create goals and write the CEP, which is the comprehensive education plan for the school, which includes goals and targets and things like that. and also to help make sure the budget is aligned to that CEP. I think that there are many other important facets to being on the school leadership team as well. And I certainly, I think you can see, we don't limit our conversations really to pretty much anything. It's pretty much open for school issues in general. And so we need parent leaders who are vocal, who want to represent other families, not just their own child, but the school as a whole. And no matter what your views are, we want you to be involved with our school so that you can share them and be part of our diversity. And we're the kind of a group we learn from each other. I think we respect each other. And I think it's a very, very special group. So we have 3 open parent seats. We meet once a month, like this now in a Zoom meeting, or hopefully in person soon. But of course, we make ourselves available to our community throughout the month. So that's pretty much what our school leadership team is all about. We hope to have our student representatives elected as well. I know Mr. File and Mr. Chechi are very involved in our student elections. We normally have a full process where students campaign and present to their peers about why they want to be on the school leadership team, and there's an application process and then an election. So we'll be working on that as well. For school bus information, you can certainly contact our parent coordinator, C. Palumbo 4. I'll put her email in the chat.
Mr. Berman, all bus information, there's a link in the student manual. All parents will go on to their New York Schools account and their bus route information will be there. If they are requesting a change for that bus route and or a Metro card, there is a link to contact Ms. Chung.
Ah, okay, great. Terrific. All right, well, thank you very, very much, everyone. I do appreciate you joining us. I appreciate your feedback. I appreciate your ideas and your thoughts. And I wish you all a terrific day. And I hope I see you at the PTA meeting next week. Thank you all very, very much, and a great day. Thank you, Mr. File. Thank you, Ms. Wong, Ms. Siddiqui, Mr. LaBella. Really appreciate your help.